and Ricky Hatton. And now a new face among Britain's elite. Scott Harrison, the pride of Scotland. The nation's brightest new sports star. How the public have rallied behind him. He carried all their hopes into the ring to meet Julio Pablo Chacon on the night that would change his life.
He's a true world champion. He's the best featherweight out there. He's now in the elite featherweight bracket.
But could Harrison prove it? Wayne McCulloch was his first challenger. Harrison knew more was now expected, and how he delivered.
Cracking right hand from Harrison. Head rock back.
Harrison really has looked top of the league in world class.
MD's got a name in world level. I want to fight him. MD's got a big reputation. I want to fight him.
This man fits the bill. Manuel Medina, four-time world featherweight champion. He has tested the best, all of them, for a decade.
Oh, right hand knocks him in, scum shield out.
A warrior all his life. But Harrison looks made of Scottish steel. He relishes this challenge as he seeks to become the world's best.
For what I could do in history, he's been one of the best fighters to come out of the country. So I need to fight named fighters, somebody that's been world champion, who is world champion, who's got a good reputation, who's tough, you know, and so they're the fights I need.
And we have one tonight. Harrison's second defense of the WBO World Featherweight crown, live against the Mexican Medina, incredibly appearing in a world title fight for the 19th time in an illustrious career. But can Harrison take another step toward becoming a Scottish ring legend here at the Braehead Arena, which has become his stronghold? He has set the very highest standards for himself simply to become the best featherweight in the world, and that means that expectations here in Scotland are now sky high. This was the experience that Jim Watt, our own man, once had, our own Scottish hero, of course, alongside Barry McGuigan here tonight. Great to have you both here for what should be a fantastic arena, an atmosphere. But Jim, what about the acclaim that Harrison has been picking up along the way so far? How's he dealing with all that?
I think he's dealing with it well. I mean, it was reported he was caught smiling last week, but that hasn't actually been confirmed. But the wonderful thing about Scott, he will never change. He is serious. He doesn't suffer fools. He doesn't want any nonsense in the ring, outside the ring. He's a businessman, and he's gained the respect of the Scottish fight public.
Is there any possibility that this wave of emotion that we're experiencing here again tonight, it's shaking the studio as we start here, that this will get to Harrison?
I think he's thriving on it. We've had world title fights in Glasgow in recent years, but I think a Scott Harrison fight is a sporting event. I think non-boxing fans now want to come and see Scott Harrison. I think he's aware of that, and I think he wants to go on from strength to strength.
Barry, Manuel Medina, even at this veteran stage of his career, 32 years of age, arrived early for work here. What does that tell you about him and his ambitions at this stage?
He still has ambition, and we've written him off in the past. We thought he was finished, and he came back and he proved it wrong. You know, he's done it 4 times. He's won the world title 4 times. He's a wily character. He's got that awkward, springy, in-out style that can cause anybody problems. He came over here and caused Nassim Muhammad nightmares, gave Paul Ingalls nightmares too, and it was a really, really tough and brilliant performance on both occasions. He's maybe getting to the end of his career, but he's a very, very tough challenger.
Jim, what does it tell us about Harrison that he has chosen to fight Medina at this stage?
Well, I'm thinking some of the champions that we have at the moment, when you hear the name of their next opponent, you have to start looking up to find out who the people are. That's not the case with Scott Harrison. Wayne McCulloch and now Medina. He wants to fight people that everyone knows. You know who they are before they get here. You know what to expect, and you know what to expect from Scott as well.
We're in for a pulsating night of action here. In all, we have 3 title fights here in Glasgow. Later, Brian Kerr and Isham Pickering meet for the vacant British and Commonwealth Super Bantamweight titles. We'll have news of that one for you. And first here tonight, an all-Scottish matchup for the British Super Featherweight title. Craig Slater sets the scene.
Hey, you so much right now!
If these two met in a dark alley, there'd be trouble. For Alex Arthur and Willie Limond, the British title's almost a side issue.
Never in my life have I been so excited about a fight, you know. I've not got any nerves or trepidation, just complete feel any excitement.
I think he's been brought up, and he's been brought up so hype behind him. He is good, but definitely beatable.
Knockout! Amazing Alex Arthur!
Having bulldozed a string of super featherweight contenders, Arthur saw red when injury meant Limond sidestepped him twice.
I am using it as a bit self-motivation. I know for sure that I'll be looking down at him, you know, and the referee will be counting, definitely.
The plot thickened. A back problem pushed Arthur out of Peter Harrison's gym. Limond took full advantage.
Peter was trained at it for over 2 years. He's going over his strengths and his weaknesses.
A bit slight advantage to us. I mean, probably I know a bit more about Alex, his personality, and how he's going to react to the fight on the night.
And the unbeaten stylist has the tools to exploit that inside information.
That was a blistering variety of punches from Willie Limond.
I'll keep my cool. I'll keep my game plan. I'll just do what I do best.
Arthur's trump card could be Mike Tyson's trainer, Freddie Roach, even though he's only been in Scotland a week.
We're not going to change too much. We're just going to make a little adjustments here and there, you know. The thing is, he's a natural fighter, and we're just going to go with that.
It's going to be a new Alex Arthur. I'm going to be stronger, I'm going to be faster, I'm going to be smarter.
A year in the making, this fight should be well worth the wait.
I haven't got nothing to set from an unbeaten record, and I'll be keeping that.
If the 2 years have to go soul searching, I know that I can go much deeper than he can.
Another one that the whole of Scotland is talking about. That's why former triple welterweight champion Gary Jacobs just had to be here tonight. Ed Robertson is waiting to speak to him now.
That's right, Gary. It's such an intriguing fight for the British super featherweight title.
Absolutely fantastic. We should be more fights like this. We're going to find out what Arthur's got and what Limond's got. I mean, Arthur's there, he's a champion. You know, Limond's an unbeaten fighter. He has a real fight on his hands tonight, and it is a mouth-watering prospects. It's a tremendous, a real domestic bust-up.
And a rivalry, East versus West Scotland.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like it's the West Coast versus East Coast. Again, that's why, you know, the form book will be out the window. It doesn't matter whether, you know, they're both unbeaten fighters. It doesn't matter who's got the titles or not. There's going to be a lot of pride at stake, and it will really test us or tell us what Alex Arthur's got tonight.
Do you think it'll unsettle Alex Arthur having his former trainer Peter Harrison in the other corner?
Absolutely not at all. He's moved on to pastures new, just different ideas, different people. He's moved on to Freddie Roach, so there'll be he'll not be thinking about what the other fighter's doing. He's just doing what he does best. He's going to sit back, and I think Alex Arthur's a real prospect, so this will tell us what he's really got.
Who's going to win?
For me, I think Arthur will win later on. I don't think there's going to be a stoppage in the fight, but it'll be later on in the fight.
We look forward to it. Thanks, Gary.
We're all set here for another potential big star in Scottish boxing. Commentary tonight, Glenn McCrory and Ian Dark, our Master of Ceremonies, Michael Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Braehead Arena here in Glasgow, Scotland. Would you please welcome firstly to the ring, the challenger from Glasgow, Willie Limond.
Well, it's a special night of boxing here tonight at the Braehead Arena, and these fans will be absolutely wrapped up. Welcome to hell, Arthur. Alex Arthur's going to know he's away from home. Most of the fans here supporting the Glasgow lad, Willie Limond. A sweet boxer, maybe lacks a bit of firepower, but unbeaten in 18, and there's been a flood of money with the Glasgow bookmakers saying he wins this fight.
Well, he's unbeaten. He's a good fighter. This is a big step for him, but he's got a good hometown crowd behind him. And I think he's up for this fight. He really wants to prove something special against Arthur. And he really, really wants to win big.
Apparently has looked very, very good in the gym. Trained by Alex Arthur's old trainer. There he is, Peter Harrison, Scott's dad, Billy Nelson there as well. Very much part of the team, of course.
And now the champion from Edinburgh, he is amazing, Alex Arthur.
And he's the one with the belt walking into the ring, but will he be walking out of the ring with it as well? Amazing Alex Arthur, as he calls himself. He's got a few of his fans who've come down the M8 from Edinburgh. Change of trainers for him in the recent past. He's now got Freddie Roach with him from the Wild Card Gym in Hollywood. Mike Tyson's most recent trainer. Whether he's Tyson's future trainer, we shall wait and see, because he seems to change every fight. But Arthur in his traditional gold, he's looked pretty special in his career so far, but not infallible.
That's right, and I think, you know, he's a very good prospect, terrific amateur, and it's all going along nicely for him. There's been a few changes which can be upsetting, but I think in Freddie Roach, he's got somebody that he'll feel very, very confident with, and somebody who's, you know, tremendous trainer to have in the corner. Plenty of booze,
yeah, well,
from the Glasgow crowd.
Well, he's from Edinburgh, isn't he? Alex Arthur, it's a big rivalry between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and that's what's really stoked up the atmosphere in this arena tonight. Arthur in the unfamiliar position of boxing away from home. Richie Davis checks the gloves one last time. Here's the tail of the tape for this fascinating fight for the British Super Featherweight title. Limond, who's a year younger, made his debut in '99, Arthur a year later after his star amateur career. Limond's had more rounds. That's because Arthur's been finishing off people very quickly. Look at that. 86% of his victims have been stopped. Only 33% for Limond. He's the one with the punch, we think anyway, in his fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome once more to the Braehead Arena here in Glasgow, Scotland. Tonight, Frank Warren Sports Network, in association with our main sponsor, the Scottish Sun, proudly present 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the Super Featherweight Championship of Great Britain. We'd like to welcome viewers watching live and exclusively on Sky Sports. The officials have been appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control. Steward in charge, Charles Giles. Doctors at ringside are Duff, Tansey and White. And so, ladies and gentlemen, at last it is on! Introducing to you firstly the challenger, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the silver cloth shorts trimmed with red. At yesterday's weigh-in, he scaled 9 stones, 3 pounds and 10 ounces. He has an excellent undefeated record, 18 contests, 18 wins. 6 of those wins coming by way of knockout. He is the proud challenger for the championship from Glasgow, Willie Limond. And opposing him, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing his familiar yellow-coloured shorts trimmed with white. At yesterday's weigh-in, he scaled 9 stones, 3 pounds and 14 ounces. He also has an excellent undefeated record, 15 contests, 15 wins. 13 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the proud first defense of his title, presenting from Edinburgh, the Super Featherweight Champion of Great Britain, amazing Alex Arthur. Timekeeper at the bell is Mr. Jim Russell from Glasgow, and the referee from All Hallows Kent is star referee Mr. Richie Davis. This is 12 rounds of championship boxing.
Okay, fellas, you've both had your instructions in the dressing rooms. Do as you're told and behave yourselves. Good luck to you both.
Short and sweet, maybe the biggest test yet for Alex Arthur. East against West, who's best? That's the question they were asking in the programme tonight. It's a fight that brings back a few memories of 30 years ago when the two big names, Cam Buchanan and Jim Watt, met over 15 rounds. Arthur in the gold trunks, the hero of Edinburgh, gets him with a right hand. Limond flying the flag tonight for Glasgow. An M8 derby, if you like. And a great atmosphere in this arena. And this is even before Scott Harrison's World Championship fight. Fast rights from Arthur early on.
But these are two good stylists. Arthur, the bigger puncher of the two. But I think he's got a bit of grit, Willie Limond.
This fight going ahead at the third time of asking, twice postponed because Limond had burst eardrums. He's caught yet again by a right hand. A lot of people have marked out Alex Arthur as a potential world-class act at some point in the future. Well, along the way, he's going to have to pass tests like this. Limond's career so far, pretty low profile. He's never been beyond 8 rounds. Big height and reach advantages for Arthur. Pretty evident once they get in the ring. These two, pretty good mates when they were in the same gym together. They sparred a few rounds, but not full out. They will be full out tonight, believe me.
Well, there's an awful lot of pride at stake in this one. And Arthur, the more polished of the two, has had much more of the publicity and much more the limelight. Has got something to prove here in Glasgow.
Oh, lovely right hand. Fast from Limond, his best yet. He is a bit of a counter-puncher, and some people were wondering whether Arthur could have problems with this particular style. Just a little reminder there to Alex Arthur after he'd made by much the more impressive start. Everything Limond does being cheered to the echo around this packed arena. Watch the use of the elbow, says Richie Davis, the referee.
Better from Arthur, the left and then nicely timed right hand.
Second defense of this crown for Alex Arthur tonight. He stopped his last 10 opponents as Alex Arthur. Done more in this first round for me, Arthur. Especially with those rights. Limond has his left glove a little too low, and Arthur's coming in over the top, pockets the first round. Well, Alex Arthur said if he hadn't been a boxer, he'd have been an actor. Well, he's got a trainer from Hollywood now in Freddie Roach.
Yeah, very good trainer, Freddie Roach as well, and he's got that quiet confidence that I think Arthur will respond to. But he did have to take a decent right hand there from Limond, and I think that'll have just woke him up and let him realise, if he didn't already, that he's got a bit of a fight on his hands.
Second round, champion Arthur in the gold trunks, the silver of Limond, who doesn't expect to finish in second place at the end of the night. There's a lot of confidence about his camp, so much so that manager Alex Morrison has put on £14,000 for him to win the fight at 11-4. I make that 41,500 to come back if he succeeds, of course. Again, Arthur can't miss with that right hand, and Limond needs more head movement or to get the left glove up. And if he does that, I suspect Arthur will switch it down to the body. There's that right hand of Limond's, though, too. And there's cut damage for Arthur. Cut damage by the left eye.
It's amazing. They're both landing with that same punch, exactly, thrown alike. That long right hand, and they're both catching each other with that shot.
Although Limond doesn't have a record of really stopping many people, he has stopped his last two opponents, Hassan Vasiliev and Jimmy Beach, who's had a good win since then. But only 3 fights in 18 months for Limond. He'd have wanted more, I think, really, going into this.
Well, he certainly doesn't look ring rusty. The sharpness is there with Limond. He's ready, he's prepared well for this.
Including sparring with Scott Harrison, by the way.
Well, you couldn't get much better sparring than that, could you?
This time Arthur does go to the body, but the counter-punching is quick from Limond. He's smart and wily and clever. He's probably going to have to win this on points if he does win it. Unless, of course, Arthur falls apart somehow.
Well, so far, if Arthur is getting off with anything, Limond is coming straight back.
Fascinating battle. And the Scottish fans totally absorbed in it. As I hope you are at home. It's a good one.
Arthur's jab, just the more accurate, just the busier with that punch. Limond falling a bit short.
Arthur works well with the jab, now switching downstairs, just to give Limond something else to think about. Early on, Arthur doing that bit more. But this has been a closer round than the first one. And there's the right hand again. Limond all the time is looking for the counters, but he does have this reach disadvantage. He has to be quick, otherwise Arthur will be away. Freddie Roach, by the way, is also preparing James Toney for his big fight with Evander Holyfield on October the 4th.
Well, it was a very good right hand from Limond, just pushing the head back nice and sharp, and he keeps coming back with that shot, and that's something that Arthur has to beware of.
And that might, of course, the little nip by the left eye of Alex Arthur, who's in the gold trunks. If he wins tonight and chalks up another British title defence, he gets a Lonsdale belt to keep. That's an incentive. Of course, Limond's camp will know all about Alex Arthur, not only what he does as a fighter, but his temperament as well, where any weaknesses may lie, because Peter Harrison, until very recently, trained Alex Arthur. One of those little subplots that he finds himself in the opposite corner tonight. There it is again, that right hand from Arthur. And Limond hasn't quite wised up to it yet, and this one rocked him a bit, stiffened his legs. Arthur's on him. Crisis for Limond here. And he's desperately trying to hold on. He's been shaken by that, and he's trying to buy time. Arthur doesn't want to give him that time.
Well, Arthur trying to seize the opportunity, another big right hand.
And again, the leg splayed of Limond, who is in deep trouble here. He has to suck this up. But Arthur's firepower coming into full effect in round 3. It's a big round for the man from Edinburgh.
Well, he's doing everything to hang on there, to get close to Arthur, just to buy himself some time, Limond.
It's the Edinburgh fans who are making the noise now in here, even in Glasgow.
Here's another good left hook.
Arthur senses that he can finish it, has to be a little careful, because Limond can counter. But I think Arthur fancies he can walk through him now.
Well, he's just trying to get him out of there. He knows he's hurt him. He's just stepping on, looking for the shot. He knows he's still not quite right, Limond.
Well, at this stage, you'd get more than that 11-4 against Willie Limond. I'll tell you what, he's showing a bit of grit here, though. He's trying desperately to buy time and let his head clear. If he can get through this, maybe he thinks he can find a way back. But he's too open to that right hand, and he looks befuddled to me in there, Limond.
Arthur really planting his feet, really looking to drive those hot shots in.
Arthur just looks that bit too good, frankly. And this is much harder than anything Limond has faced before in his unbeaten 18-fight ledger. Big round, Arthur. Well, he really had him going here, Glenn.
He did. It was good shots. The big right hand again. You know, he's just open for that. And he got through and really started to make Limond pay. And Limond did well to hang on. His survival instincts were good. He closed the distance, didn't allow Arthur to get free shots on, but Arthur hurt him once or twice with that right. In the round, the legs wobbled again of Limond's, and Arthur was really had his mind set on trying to get him out.
Arthur looks like a man with a point to prove to his old trainer to me as well here.
Well, I think that's bound to come into it. You know, he's pretty confident, he's pretty strong mentally, and he's got a lot to prove.
Here we go with round 4. Arthur dominant so far, looking the good fighter that most observers have felt him to be in the early stages of his pro career. A lot of people wondering if he's the next Ken Buchanan for Edinburgh. Buchanan, almost part of the camp, it seems, these days. He's always around when Arthur's fighting. He'll be here tonight. He was at the weigh-in. The great lightweight of old, who used to wow them at Madison Square Garden. Now, what can Limond do here? What can he do, Glenn?
Well, he's got to bide his time. He's got to look for the opening. He's got to look for Arthur to commit himself too much. He's a good counter puncher, and Arthur might just get too overconfident.
Has he got anything to really hurt Arthur with, though? Something to keep him honest on the way in. Doesn't look like it so far. That's a nice little left hook from Limond. Cameos of class from him, but he'll need more than cameos. He needs a round to put in his pocket here somewhere, something to just build a little bridgehead in the fight. Arthur rather walked onto the jab. Still a bit upright, Arthur, in style, a lot of people say.
Well, certainly he'll do better if he spends more time with Freddie Roach. He's only had a week with him.
Well, there are a lot more things in the plus column, aren't there?
Very much so.
Arthur's reason for leaving the Peter Harrison team was a back problem caused by driving between Edinburgh and the Glasgow gym every day. It's been sorted out by treatment including 12-inch needles into his back. He says it's all okay now. Some people wondering whether there were other undercurrents behind it, but I don't suppose we'll ever really know. It's okay from Limond.
Occasionally he gets through with that punch, and the right, Arthur just allowing himself to get closer in. That leaves him open and gives Limond the chance to counter.
But is he going to be able to win this fight on the counter, landing spasmodically as he has done?
Well, it's going to be very hard. He needs more than that. He's got to get Arthur to walk onto a punch.
And he's not going to get Arthur on the back foot. It doesn't look like that, does it?
No, that's not really his style, and I think Arthur's too strong for that. He's really got to just sucker Arthur into something.
Everything to Alex Arthur so far.
Action for you on Sunday. The Northwest Masters, teams from Blackburn, Bolton, Manchester City and Liverpool all competing. Sky Sports 1, Sunday, 5 o'clock. Scott Harrison still to come tonight against Manuel Medina, his former stablemate Alex Arthur in action live here against Willie Limond.
And Arthur's won every round so far and had Limond in bad trouble in the third. This is the 5th, due to go 12 for the British Championship at 9 stone 4 pounds.
Arthur fighting with the confidence that he knows he can hurt Limond. That's bound to help him.
Starting to look quite a rounded pro, Alex Arthur. I'm sure he's not the finished article yet, but he's an exciting one to have around. Because Edinburgh had Ken Buchanan in the past and the legendary Tansy Lee, who never lost to a Glasgow fighter in a Glasgow ring in his whole career.
Few good jabs there, pushing Arthur back.
Well, these Scottish fans know what they're watching, and they know that Limond is not winning that much so far in this fight. I think he's got to start to try to do something a little differently. He needs a plan B, I think.
He does.
He's cut. He's got a cut. Left eye cut of Willie Limond. And a right hand stiffened him as well. Don't know whether he actually saw it coming, you know, with that blood coming from the eye. He might not have done.
Well, that blood dripping into the eye, that's a problem for Limond when he's keep having to get out of the way of that right hand.
It's about the last thing he needed, Willie Limond, at this point, as if he didn't have enough problems. He's got John McNair in the corner to deal with the cuts. I just wonder whether this may make Limond fight with a bit more urgency and fire.
Well, he has to change something, Ian.
Takes a left hook from Arthur, who's got a pretty good repertoire of shots. That was well blocked by Limond with the gloves on that occasion. His blood splashing from that eye out onto our notes at ringside. It's a badish cut. And another right hand. Richie Davis is taking a closer look at Limond. He'll give him every opportunity. He knows how big a fight this is for both guys.
Well, he's got an idea what it means to Arthur there. He clenches his teeth and calls Limond in.
But he's getting busted up here, Limond, at the moment, and he's not winning much either.
I think he's getting sickened in there now. The right hands, the left hooks, all landing.
It's just too much from Alex Arthur, who does continue to look like a talented operator. Commonwealth Games gold medalist, boxing a couple of world championships. And he's very much the boss in there at the moment, and they've got to really work on that cut. It's the Scott Harrison team in the corner. And they've got John McNair handling the cuts as well.
Well, he was really on top, and you said it right. He's starting to bust Limond up, and you just get the feeling that it's taking it out of Limond. The confidence is slowly draining away with each one of these good shots. He's getting a little bit tangled on the ropes there after being caught with that right hand.
A lot of people thought this fight would never happen, that Limond was somehow dodging Arthur, but I think, and I gather, his burst eardrum problems were genuine enough. And the fact that he's here, I think, proves that he did want the fight. Whether he's wanting it at the moment, of course, is another question. He's got his pride. He'll try to battle back somehow. They've done a great job with the cut in the 1 minute between the rounds. But will it hold up? There's another big right. And again, the leg splayed, though I fancy there was just a bit of something slippery in the corner. I think he slipped on the water, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
The right hand was still a good one.
It's been the key punch for Arthur all night long. And I think he's looked at videos of Limond. He's sparred with him before, and he's picked up on that as a weakness. And goodness me, hasn't he made Limond pay for it?
But he's got that punch. He's got a lot more of a repertoire, Arthur. The left hooks, the uppercuts. He does a lot of good things in there, and he does look like he's going to be something of a star in the future.
The cut opens up again on the face of poor Willie Limond. This time he gets one to the body, dabs away at the cut again, and at the moment he's looking distressed. And I wonder if we're getting somewhere close to the point where the referee will start to take a closer interest in the proceedings here.
Well, he's still pretty competitive, Limond, but he is the boss in there, Arthur, doing as he pleases.
See, ever since I arrived in Glasgow this week, people have been telling me that Limond's going to win this fight, but maybe they were letting hearts rule their head.
Well, I would imagine most of them are Glasgow people as well, Ian.
Great left hook to the body from Arthur, who now has a cool, precise hunter's way about him in there, like a man who knows he has it under control. There's the right hand again.
He's also warming up, loosening up to the punches, and yeah, it's getting better and better work from Arthur.
Arthur, the man discovered by Bob Scally, who helped the great Welshman Tommy Farr prepare for his world heavyweight title turf at Joe Louis back in 1937. Arthur was 12 when Bob saw him.
Something in reply there from Limond, a left hook.
He's just never been able to get competitive, Limond, in this fight. And Arthur just taunts him a little, and Richie Davis is having none of that. Get back to the corner, he says. Well, Alex Arthur was saying this week that even in the 7 days Freddie Roach has been around, he's learnt so much. Is that possible, or is that just a nice little PR?
No, I don't think so. It is possible. You know, he's worked with so many good fighters. I mean, remember Steve Collins and a little bit of time with Tyson, but he's been around tough fighters for years, and I think he's learning a lot from a trainer like Freddie Roach.
Got to give some credit though to Terry McCormack, who used to help Arthur in the amateurs. He's basically done the bulk of the preparation with Arthur for this fight, along with strength and conditioning coach Mike Heatley. So hats off to them, I think, for the way Arthur's performing here tonight as well. I was saying beforehand he was going to be faster, stronger, better than before. Fighters do say that kind of thing ahead of fights, but he's been as good as his word, I think, this time, Arthur. Bit disappointed with Limond?
Well, not really. I mean, he's done what we expected him. You know, he's competitive, but you know, we've always thought that Arthur is going to be good.
Arthur's hand speed is helping him a lot to make sure those right hands land every time. Anything you still don't like about Arthur's style?
Nothing I don't like. I think there's obviously improvements to be made. A little bit looser. He's got to get around the shoulders and the head just to avoid a few punches himself. Sometimes a bit right. But I think, you know, he certainly is a tremendous prospect.
Boom times for Scottish boxing. The reach disadvantage, I think, has been a big thing here as well, the way it's worked out for poor old Willie Limond, whose cut looks even worse. It's now turned into a bit of a gash, and looks that way anyway.
What I like about Arthur is the way he just keeps to his job. He just, you know, settles down, looks for the shots. Nothing really seems to bother him that much. Turning up the heat a little bit now, Arthur.
Limond's done well to stay in there, really, because he's been under heavy fire for quite a lot of the way here.
And that eye is looking quite bad now, Ian.
And I think all those Glasgow fans who had a bet on Willie Limond might be tearing up the betting slips at the moment, unless, of course, he comes up with something very dramatic. The eye's closing, isn't it, that left eye now?
It is. That's doing him a lot of problems, but still competitive. Still, you know, you've got to give credit to Limond. He keeps coming back with shots, keep trying. He's a cagey character.
It's better from Limond. Does some good work on the inside. Managed to get together with a little combination there. Maybe that's where it might pay him if he can get in closer with Arthur. He doesn't have the reach disadvantage in there, and he just might be able to keep his eye out of harm's way. Well, he won this title against Steve Conway. He came in at very late notice and was weight drained. Stopped Carl Greaves in 6 in the first defence. And this is the second one for Alex Arthur. By the way, Michael Gomez, the old British champion's watching at ringside. The rumour is that those two meet in September.
Well, that'll be a good fight. I can see Gomez just looking very interested there at the good work that we're seeing from Arthur here. The right hand time and time again, is getting through. The eye is getting worse, and just giving Arthur something more to aim at.
10 seconds. Okay, corners.
Here he is, there's Michael Gomez, who's made the longest journey up from Manchester to be here in Glasgow to watch the man he hopes will be his next opponent. That would be a cracking fight, and the word is Arthur will be fighting, topping the bill in Edinburgh. That would be good in his hometown, but he's got to still win this first. He's looking a more than likely winner. That left eye is virtually closed for Willie Limond now. Decent little right hand from Limond in there. Billy Nelson claps his hands in the corner to urge Limond on further. Oh, uppercut this time from Arthur.
You just see Limond take a breath there. That was a hurtful punch.
Oh, this time the left hook. I tell you what, he's got all the weapons in the armory, this guy, hasn't he?
He does, and he smiled over at Peter Harrison there after he delivered that shot.
Interestingly, he didn't do an awful lot of sparring at that gym with Scott Harrison. I just wonder whether Peter was thinking maybe somewhere down the line those two are going to meet.
Well, that certainly could happen.
Good. And they're only 4 pounds apart, aren't they? And Harrison's tightened up at 9 stone. Not yet, I don't think. But it's an interesting thought, isn't it, for the future? Oh, suddenly looks groggy and lost his feet there for a moment. He's ready to go, Limond here. The referee, I think, is going to dive in. He might only take a few more punches. Another uppercut, it's over. Richie Davis dives in, 8th round. Alex Arthur is still pretty amazing. He wins the big Scottish derby, and he wins it emphatically. I think that was his wife, wasn't it? I hope it was.
Well, they're all happy in that corner, aren't they? Freddie Roach, congratulations from him and the rest of the team. And that was a good performance, and he showed how good he is at finishing there. Meant a lot to him, Alex Arthur, and it was a terrific finish. Really found the shots at the end, accurate, kept the pressure on.
Well, he's got every right to celebrate. I am the man, he says. Look at this. He does love being the superstar, and I do think myself that was one of the reasons behind him leaving the Scott Harrison gym. He wants to be top dog. Nothing wrong with that, really, at his stage.
Of course not, he wants to be that. There's a lot of ego about with fighters, and also he wants the time. So Peter Harrison, I'm sure, will spend an awful lot of time with his son, and he needs the big billion, and he needs to be the man.
The east of Scotland has beaten the west of Scotland in this one. An away win for Alex Arthur in Glasgow against the Glasgow fighter, and there was never much doubt about it.
No, there's the uppercut. You know, he's got the confidence, he's got the style, he's got the repertoire to throw punches like that.
He suddenly just fell apart, Limond, didn't he? Under the sustained assault.
He did. He took a lot. He tried to keep himself together, and then there was one shot that just buckled the legs. You see him there. At that point, he just fell backwards. Arthur quickly realized that he had his man under pressure, and then just set about trying to dismantle and get poor Willie Limond out of there.
And in the process made a nonsense of all those predictions that Limond was going to cause a shock. He never, ever remotely looked like doing so.
No, he didn't. He never really got into it. He was cagey and courageous, but that was it. He was the boss in there from the beginning to the end, and on my scorecard every single round I gave to Alex Arthur.
Me too. Had to, didn't you, really?
You did. Richie Davis quick to get in there. Good work from him. It was a good uppercut, and he realized, you know, it was time to get Willie Limond out of there.
All over in round 8. He is still the British super featherweight champion, and the name is Alex Arthur. You're going to hear a lot more of him, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute and 51 seconds of round number 8, referee Richie Davis has stopped the contest. In his opinion, Willie Limond was in no condition to continue. Your winner, and he is still the super featherweight champion of Great Britain. He is amazing, Alex Arthur. And a supreme challenger, Indy, Glasgow's very own Willie Limond. The British Boxing Board of Control Steward in charge, Charles Giles, has presented the Lonsdale belt to the winner, amazing Alex Arthur.
25 years of age. Where will his story take him? First, he's got to establish himself as the best in Britain at super featherweight, but he's on course. Backstage, another 25-year-old, a man he knows so well, his former stablemate, Scott Harrison, further up the career scale right now, getting ready to top our bill here in Glasgow tonight, defending the WBO World Featherweight title against Manuel Medina. And if it wasn't buzzing as we started tonight, it most definitely is now. Edinburgh's Arthur victorious here in Glasgow. Let's hear from him now with Adam Smith.
Alex, you retain your British super featherweight title for the second time in sizzling style. There was so much pressure, so much expectation in this fight, and you took it all in your stride, didn't you?
I just thrived on the whole thing. It just came completely natural to me. I love the cameras, I love the spotlight. I told you I'm one of the best champions in Britain. I'll prove it in the long run. And I just want to say thanks to my fantastic team who concentrated so much on me personally, and Arthur and Mackay for all their fantastic support.
You came into a chorus of boos, but you got the early start. You used your jab, you were hurting him with right hands. Did you feel that he was just going to fold?
It helped me, you know, the boos helped me, definitely. I remember years back watching some of the fighters thrive on boos, and that's what happened to me tonight, you know, but I must just thank my fantastic team for the job they've done. They were brilliant.
The odd wry smile to former trainer Peter Harrison in the other corner. One up on him?
Oh yeah, well Peter's a great trainer, you know, and they've got a great team, but at the end of the day, I proved what I've been telling people for a long time, and the Alex Arthur locomotion steam train's just going to keep running.
You've moved to Freddie Roach. Freddie, you've worked with some of the best fighters over the last 20 years. How good do you think Alex Arthur is?
I think he can go all the way. I mean, he's a hot prospect out there right now, and a couple more fights, I think he'll be ready for a world title shot.
That impressed?
Oh, definitely. You know, I've worked with him last week in the gym and so forth. He's got a lot of tools out there, and he just needs to sharpen them up a little bit, and I think he can hang with anybody.
Frank Warren, we hear Michael Gomez possibly in Edinburgh in the autumn. Can you confirm the next move?
Alex's next fight will be against Michael Gomez, and probably in Edinburgh in the autumn.
A date, September?
Definitely in Edinburgh.
You relish that one, wouldn't you?
Oh man, there'll be no booze that night. No booze.
Well, there will be no, let's have it right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the rivalry between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and at the end of the day, he's a Scotsman, and all these guys I know deep down are all proud of him, and they'll all be behind him when he fights again.
It's great. Big class told in the end.
Willie Limond did well today. He's a brave lad.
Fighter. He's a good fighter. Willie will come again, definitely, no doubts.
Well done. Enjoy it, Alex.
Thank you.
So he goes home to Edinburgh to celebrate.
All right.
We'll be seeing more of this young man, that's for sure.
Okay.
Jim, if we give you a passport, will you come to Edinburgh with us that night?
Yeah, well, I need a special reason to go through to Edinburgh, I will say that. But Alex Arthur is certainly a special reason, yes, I would make that journey.
Did he take your breath away tonight, or...?
He didn't take my breath away, no, I still think that an awful lot of rough edges with Arthur, but it was his fight from start to finish. He didn't allow Willie Limond into the fight. Willie didn't even win a round on my card. And any chance that Limond had of getting into the fight, I think, was taken away from him in the third round. Willie doesn't have the power to trouble people at this level, and that was always going to be a big drawback. And I think Arthur took full advantage of that, put the pedal down when the time was right, and I think all told it was an excellent job he did tonight.
Barry, what about his work here?
Well, I thought he started off very well. Limond had his little bit of fair share of good luck in the first two rounds, landed a couple of right hands himself, and that's the thing that Arthur's got to work on. But that right hand to the head in the third round turned the fight entirely around. And this was the beginning of the end here. He got a bit sloppy, and I know he won't be happy when he watches it. He's meticulous in his work, Alex, and he just stepped the pace up again. Again wobbled Limond with the right hand in the fifth, and he never lost a round.
You know how Freddie Roach thinks and operates, how impressed do you believe Freddie Roach would have been with this opening performance under the new trainer?
I think Freddie, and obviously, is very impressed with this kid. He said he always wanted to train a Scottish champion, and this guy, I believe, can go a long, long way. Whether he can go to the very top or not, it remains to be seen, but I can tell you up to now he's proved very, very impressive. His array of punches, his variety of punches is very impressive. He has to tighten things up. He has to be better at fighting aggressively, and he has to show us that he can take a bit of stick and be in the trenches and come back. But there's no question about it. He can. He finished off there with a great right hand, and the referee done exactly the right thing.
Well, I mean, an excellent job. You can't fault that job. But I think you should stop this. This is not a good idea. And I think Frank Warren, being a promoter, had a wise idea at the end of the fight. It's a Scottish crowd you want behind you, Alex. Don't intimidate the Glasgow fans. Be sporting about it. Put your hands up, you've won the fight. But we want some Glasgow people to come through and support you as well.
I'll give him a bit of slack there. He done this. It's a big night for him. It's a big night for him.
Yeah, I suppose.
You give him a bit of freedom.
Immaturity, we'll say.
Glasgow's Scott Harrison tops the bill here shortly. WBO World Featherweight title defence coming up. A man already noted for big fights and big tests throughout his career. And as Craig Slater has found out, he wouldn't have it any other way.
He's a hard man from a hard school. Now Scott Harrison faces his toughest examination against Mexico's Manuel Medina.
I mean, I'm not taking any easy fights. No, I could if I want. I could fight whoever I want, but it's another big name, and Medina's next.
A grueling apprenticeship earned him British and Commonwealth crowns, and the scalps of ex-champions Tracy Harris-Patterson and Tom Johnson.
Scott keeps stepping up a level all the time, and sometimes I look at Scott in the ring and he's not the guy I trained when he was, maybe say 2 years ago. He's completely different.
And for the Harrisons, winning the world title was just the next step on the ladder.
I want to unify all the belts, and I'm right on track now to do that. I'll fight Andy in the division. Absolutely Andy.
Having shunned easier defences for a grudge match with Wayne McCulloch, the Scot was at his ruthless best.
How many more of these can he take? Even Wayne McCulloch.
He was better, he's stronger. Really, less stronger than I thought. I know he was strong, and that's why I couldn't mix it up. But he hurt me early on.
And he's already targeting world #1, Marco Antonio Barrera.
I think Scott Harrison is the best fighter in Britain, and I think not too long from there, he'll be the best fighter in the world at his weight.
I'd love to fight Barrera. I'd be crying fight Hampden Park, 50,000. What an atmosphere.
But another Mexican's ready to shoot down those plans. Four-time world champion, Manuel Medina.
Oh, right hand knocks him, it's gum shield out.
And Glasgow holds no fears for a veteran of only 3 less world title bouts than Harrison's had fights.
It's going to be a bloody fight. It's not going to be easy. I come a featherweight, and I'm not going to lose this fight. I'm going to take the title back with me.
I seen Medina getting stopped in about 7 rounds. That's how confident I
And Harrison believes his destiny's a place among Scotland's ring legends.
To be named alongside Ken Buchanan or Jim Watts, fantastic, I mean.
So who else could we ask than the man himself to weigh up the tactics for our top of the bill tonight?
Harrison is a strong, aggressive fighter whose tremendous work rate has already helped him claim the scalps of 5 former world champions. Although Medina does have the skill and experience to nullify Scott's attacks. Scott's style is based around a solid left jab which he uses to pave the way for his hurtful combinations. His great natural strength and his underrated power allow him to stand and trade, knowing he can finish things early. But Medina does have a solid chin, a good punch variety, and sets a relentless pace. Scott's upright stance and lack of head movement may leave him open at times, but with more lateral movement to cut the ring down, he could have the job done by the 8th round.
Thank you, Jim. Barry, is the key to this performance by Harrison the work rate?
No, I think the key is to nullify Medina's work rate. The key to this fight is to take the centre of the ring and to back Medina up, because Medina likes to, although he's in and out, he likes to back you up. He likes to take charge of the fight. And Harrison has an uncanny ability to make any style of fighter fight the way he likes to fight.
How is Manuel Medina, for all his experience, all his achievements, now going to deal at this stage in his career with a man like Harrison, Jim?
I wouldn't particularly like to be in his shoes at this particular time. He's coming to the end of a tough career. He's not a puncher. And anyone going with Scott Harrison who can't gain his respect with the power of his punch is going to have big problems. I think this is, the Wayne McCulloch match was a good match for Harrison. I think this is another good match. I think that Medina is a worthy challenger. He fully deserves another crack at yet another world championship. But I think Scott Harrison at this stage in his career is just far too good for him.
Are you looking for a career progression again in this display from Harrison from the last one?
Well, I think Scott already has been compared with Barrera and Marquez and people like that. Marquez stopped Medina, dominated him for 7 rounds earlier this year. So Scott must know his performance tonight is going to be compared with that one, and that's what will be on his mind.
Jim Watt is rightly revered in these parts. Men like Ken Buchanan just before him, of course, and going back, McGowan, Patterson, Lynch. Many in this crowd tonight, of course, never saw any of those fighters in action. But that's the legacy that Scott Harrison carries for Scotland tonight as he defends his WBO World Featherweight title. It's next. Live coverage of the World Pool Championship continues on Sunday and throughout next week from 2 o'clock Sunday, Sky Sports 2. Here in Glasgow, here comes Manuel Medina on his way out to challenge Scott Harrison for his world crown. It's time here for our top of the bill, our Master of Ceremonies, Michael Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Braehead Arena once again, this is the main event of the evening. Would you please welcome to the ring firstly the challenger from Nayarit in Mexico, Manuel Medina.
And he won't mind boxing away from home one little bit. Manuel Medina is the very embodiment of Mexican machismo, a man who's won and lost the World Championship 4 times in a decade of swapping punches with most of the best featherweights on the planet. And Glenn, people have made the mistake before of hiring him, thinking that he's a soft touch, a bit past it, and he's come up and shocked them.
That's the one thing you cannot do with this man. Manuel Medina is a fighter to the soles of his feet. And a good competitive fighters have thought he's going to be a soft touch, but he's come back and he's beat them and he's took world titles away from them. He is a real world-class fighter.
And now the world champion himself from Cambuslang in Scotland, Scott, the real McCoy, Harrison.
Well, those pictures tell you how much of a hero Scott Harrison has now become in his native Scotland. You'll notice there are no neon lights, no trapezes, no Harley-Davidsons or pyrotechnics. The word hype simply isn't in Scott Harrison's dictionary. His gimmick is that he doesn't have one. He just goes out in a no-nonsense way and keeps on winning big fights with icy, grim, poker face professionalism.
That's it, he's just pure professional, and the crowd really love him up here in Glasgow. He's getting better all the time, and he's just getting stronger. A really terrific fighter.
Still a bit of a secret on the other side of the pond, Scott Harrison, but the word will soon be out that this is the next big thing, I think, in the featherweight division. Tail of the tape, he's 7 years younger than the gnarled veteran Medina, who will have height and reach advantages, which he'll be looking to use with his jab. Both of them made the 9-stone featherweight limit with a little to spare, but only a little. Harrison has been a pro since 1996. Medina started when he was 14 in 1985. Can you believe that? He's had 74 fights and boxed 540 rounds. But Harrison is the one with the power advantage here, as that knockout percentage tells you.
And prior to the main event, ladies and gentlemen, now in the ring, giving his personal interpretation of Scotland's national anthem, the Flower of Scotland, from the Braehead Symphony Orchestra, the supreme talent of Mr. Davy Haggerty.
Come on, Braehead, give us a hand. Oh, flower of Scotland, when will we see you like again? That fought and died for your wee bit hill and glen, and stood against him. Proud Edward's army, and sent him homewards to think again. Those days are past now, and in the past they must remain. For we will arise now and be a nation again, and stood against him. Proud Edward's army, and sent him homewards to think again.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Braehead Symphony Orchestra, the fabulously talented Mr. Davy Haggerty. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Braehead Arena here in this fabulous city of Glasgow, Scotland. Tonight, Frank Warren's Sports Network, in association with our main sponsor, the Scottish Sun, proudly present 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Welcome to viewers watching live and exclusively on Sky Sports. The officials have been appointed by the World Boxing Organization in association with the British Boxing Board of Control. WBO President is Mr. Francisco Valcarcel. Supervisor at ringside, John Duggan from Chicago, Illinois, in the USA. British Boxing Board of Control steward in charge, Mr. Charles Giles. Timekeeper at the bell is Mr. Ricky Gilmore from Glasgow, Scotland. The 3 judges at ringside are Roy Francis from Kent, England, Larry Hazard Jr. from New Jersey in the USA, and Melvina Latham from New York in the USA also. Finally, when the action commences this evening, taking part in his 105th world title contest is star referee, Mr. Mickey Van from Leeds. And so, people of Glasgow, Scotland, live from the Braehead Arena, this is World Championship Boxing! Introducing to you firstly the challenger, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the silver-colored shorts, trimmed with green and red. At the weigh-in yesterday, he scaled 8 stones, 13 pounds and 10 ounces. He has an outstanding record, 74 contests, 61 wins. 28 of those wins coming by way of knockout and 13 defeats. Presenting the former 4-time featherweight champion of the world from Nayarit in Mexico, the praying mantis, Manuel Medina. And the blue corner wearing the solid black shorts trimmed with yellow. At yesterday's weighing, he scaled 8 stones, 13 3/4 pounds. He also has an excellent record, 21 contests, 19 wins. 9 of those wins coming by way of knockout, with only 1 defeat and 1 draw. Presenting the former undefeated featherweight champion of Great Britain and the Commonwealth, tonight making the 2nd defense of his title. From Cambuslang in Scotland, the WBO featherweight champion of the world, Scott "The Real McCoy" Harrison. The referee, Mr. Mickey Van, will now give his final instructions to both boxers. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World.
Scott, you both had your instructions in the dressing room. Don't forget, I want no notice with the head. Shake hands, back to your corners. Good luck. Okay.
An atmosphere to rival those thunderous nights when Jim Watt was defending his world lightweight title at the Calvin Hall and Ibrox over 20 years ago. Harrison is today's hero. There is Medina in his 75th pro fight. What a fighter he's been. And he's already been involved in a couple of little mini classics on visits to these islands against Nassim Hamed and also against Paul Ingle. But he ended up losing them both. In fact, his record in 18 World Championship fights is 1-9, lost 9. And just when you think he's going away for good, he comes back and picks up a world title again. Will it happen tonight? Have they underestimated what this man can do? Harrison officially 8'13 3/4, probably weighing something like 10 stone on the night. This is a lightweight, I think, masquerading as a featherweight, don't you, once he gets in there?
I think it is. He's so big and so strong for a featherweight, and I think that's the surprise that his opponents have when they get in the ring with him. They feel that strength.
Wayne McCulloch, who's been around, said in that last fight he could not believe just how strong Scott Harrison is. But Medina says, as far as I'm concerned, he's a boy. I'll win every round. Circumspect start from Harrison, who is outreached. Medina, who threw 1,466 punches, a world record in his fight with Johnny Tapia, and still didn't get the decision.
What he's going to do is but long range in this opening round, just not really hard shots, just poking that jab out and trying to get the arms moving, Medina.
Well, I think a lot of his punches are little range finders. He's not a puncher, but he has heart, strength, determination, experience, and height and reach advantages here. And that praying mantis type style that was referred to in the introductions. Good in and out work from Medina. Harrison not doing a lot early.
He's not, he just seems a little bit mesmerized, maybe a bit cold in this opening round, not getting close and just being picked off with long-range shots from Medina.
This is far different to fighting Wayne McCulloch, who's always right in front of you. And Chacon was never that far away either on the night that Harrison won his world championship. At the moment he's struggling a bit with the speed and height and movement of Medina, who's made much the better start.
Get away!
Just struggling to work him out early.
He is. I mean, one of the problems, Harrison, he's a bit upright, and that means he gets hit with straight shots. Medina is able to hit him because that's his style.
Harrison does get there with a left hook, and the cheers ring around this Braehead arena, but it's Medina's opening round. He's already done better than Wayne McCulloch did. Well, only 3 men in featherweight history have had more world title fights than this fellow, Manuel Medina. That's George Dixon, Abe Attell, and Eusebio Pedrosa. And he was tricky in this opening round.
He was tricky. He just showed what he can do, his experience, and the fact that He's probably looked at Harrison, seen he gets picked up with jabs, and he used that punch well.
Round 2. Medina only stopped twice in his World Championship career by Nassim Hamed, and that was late. And also last time out when he was beaten up, really, by the underrated IBF champion Juan Manuel Marquez, yet another Mexican. I think they must keep the belts in the Rio Grande.
Well, they do breed them tough in Mexico. Natural fighters.
Harrison needing to get closer. He's getting picked off from range at the moment. Medina having things his own way, but is it only a matter of time before Harrison works out a way? Has to cut off those corners a bit.
Well, it's the long arms and the movement that is giving Harrison the problems so far. So he's got to move that head a little bit and just step inside the range of Medina and get his punches going.
Harrison going for the body, trying to slow down Medina. Surely has to come a point where all these fights start to catch up with Medina, who's starting to chip a couple now. Harrison is beginning to solve the problems.
Well, he's just got to get in range to be able to solve them. Just falling a bit short, but as soon as he gets in range, he can then land Harrison.
A lot of these punches Medina throws are simply arm punches. Some of them have got a bit more about them, like the one that knocked out Nassim Hamed's gum shield.
Shot to the body from Medina, who's still using plenty of movement and catching Harrison from long range.
A lot of these experienced world-class operators from the other side of the Atlantic basically don't believe Brits can fight, do they?
No, that's the problem. I think they're learning with the likes of Joe Calzaghe and Lennox Lewis that they can a bit.
And Harrison will be looking to ram home the point here. But he's just looked a shade mesmerized early on. Maybe that ice-cold boxing brain of his is just working a few things out in there. It is still early.
Well, the light punches from Medina, but the getting through and they're pretty quick.
There's a nice right hand from Harrison. Really light on his feet, Manuel Medina. He makes the weight easily. Before he fought Paul Ingle, he had fish and chips at the press conference. That's better from Harrison. Good left hook, twice over.
But he needs more of it, Harrison. Trying to get closer. Medina skips out of range.
There were signs of encouragement in that round, though, for Harrison. Dad Peter, nearer the camera, Denny Mancini, the cutsman on the far side, out of vision, Billy Nelson. It's the old team with Scott Harrison.
Almost 10 seconds.
Just starting to get a bit closer towards the end of the round, but Medina's still doing more and just frustrating him.
Judges, 2 from America, and Britain's experienced former ref Roy Francis doing the scoring of this one. Just wonder whether there are a few clues as to how this might develop in that last round. It's a different little puzzle tonight for Harrison. He's caught by a fast right. I think he'd prefer to have someone who is in front of him. A mover like this, sometimes just making him look a little ponderous.
Well, that's something that we're learning. The movement and the fast hands are giving Harrison trouble.
Good strategy by Medina, who of course knows what he's about. But that's 1, 2, 3 jabs, wrapping back the head of Medina.
Well, that's more of what he needs from Harrison. Getting closer. He's got to keep. One punch is not enough. As you saw, the jab's got to be 2 or 3.
I think if that left hand had landed, it would have put Medina into the nearby supermarket.
Putting him into the body as well, Medina.
It's a nice short little left on the inside. There's no doubt here Harrison is in with one of the elite level featherweights, and his legs just moved a little, Medina, then, after that left hook landed. He's been on the floor plenty of times in his career. He was down against Hamed and against Ingle on his visits over here before.
This is better. He's got Medina much more on the run now, getting through some solid shots. Harrison.
More authoritative punches from Harrison. There's something of a pitter-patter nature about arm punches from Medina. Not all of them, but quite a lot. Sometimes he gives it's an illusion that he's busy, isn't it?
Yes, and he's just giving Harrison a little bit more respect, a little bit more wary about putting his shots on. Just falling short, Medina.
I'm just wondering whether he'll be able to dance like this for 12 rounds as well. Harrison, classic tactics against a guy doing this, looking to hit him to the body, slow him down. Weaken the body, the legs will go. So the argument goes, anyway. Fascinating clash of styles, Glenn.
Yes, it is, with this ever-moving style of Medina's in and out. Certainly is giving Harrison something to think about, but this round he's been better, just starting to land with the solid punches.
Live football action for you this Thursday evening, the pre-season friendly between Fulham and Celtic, 7:30 Thursday evening, Sky Sports 2. And Celtic's Neil Lennon is among the stars at ringside tonight. But what of the star in the ring? This man, Glenn and Ian.
Round 4 coming up for the WBO Featherweight Championship. Second defence this by Scott Harrison, who's never dodged the column all through his career. Even in his 12th fight, he was fighting former world champion Tracy Harris Patterson. Then Tom Johnson, the long-reigning IBF champion. Now that was just by way of learning the business. Only wants to fight big names. He's doing it again tonight.
Well, you admire that about Scott Harrison. You know, he is determined. He does really want to be the best out there. He doesn't want to avoid anybody.
Medina looks like he's throwing a bit more leather, but I think the extra solidity of shot is coming from Harrison. Not that he's looking that sharp, is he?
No, he's not. He's a little bit bemused by the punches coming in. It could do with just trying to slip a few more, a little bit more head movement, side to side movement would help Harrison. I've always felt that.
Touches him with the left hook, then up the body punch as well. Bit by bit, Harrison, with those eyes that look like ice on fire, just starting to close the range. But he's full of it, isn't he? Medina loves it, fully intends to become a 5-time world champion tonight. He'd be Mexico's first if he did it.
Well, constantly on the move, left and right, throwing punches out. That is giving Harrison the trouble of just getting to him. Harrison just early on in this fight looking a little bit flat and needing to get some shots off.
His every punch being cheered by the Glasgow crowd, of course. Judges shouldn't be taking any notice of that. Still looks confident, Medina. Still looks fresh. How's he do this? He defies boxing logic, this guy.
A couple of good shots there, though, from Harrison, just rocking the head a little bit of Medina. You know the Harrison punches have much more effect when they land.
He's got to make them count when he does get to them. There's a bit of blood around from somewhere. Is that coming from the nose of Harrison?
Yep, I think these jabs and straight rights give Harrison a bit of a problem with the nose, and there is a little bit of blood about. He is plenty busy, isn't he, Manuel Medina?
Yeah, no wonder he threw 1,400 punches in the fight against Tapia. But it's quality question mark about the shots. Well, let's hear of another Scottish boxing hero now. Gary Jacobs is with Ed Robinson.
Well, Gary, Medina's setting Scott Harrison some new problems in his career.
Absolutely, he's taller, he's a lankier man, he's playing like the jab and the move. Scott's got to get in front of him, he's got to pressurise him, and what he's doing at the moment, he's getting in front of him and he's following him about. He's got to come in behind his jab, he has to start working and putting him under a bit of pressure, because all Medina's doing is just jabbing and moving and flicking away, and he's stealing the rounds. Scott has to get in front and put him under pressure with punches, not just following him about.
Is it a style problem, or is Scott Harrison just making a slow start tonight?
Right, his styles make fights. I mean, Medina's tall and lanky, he's got the longer reach, he's always going to be doing that. He's staying out of distance, he's staying out of the way, and he's jabbing and moving, and just it's the wee flicking punches that's picking up points. He's not really hurting Scott. Scott has to put a bit more pressure on him.
Thank you, Gary.
The computer says that Medina is throwing more and landing more, but they haven't invented a computer yet that can tell you about the weight and quality of the punches.
That's right, it's a 12-round fight, and Harrison will be looking to make those punches pay later in the fight.
Nice right hand from Harrison that time, sending the sweat spraying from the grizzled Manuel Medina, nicknamed Manticas, which translates as smooth. And at times he's looked just that tonight. Oh, right hand's a big shot to the temple from Harrison. Medina takes it.
Well, that was much better. You know Harrison can do it when he gets his punches off, gets the combinations working. That's when he's at his best.
Starting to land more regularly. Tripling up with the jab and the right hand. Harrison does have trouble getting down to 9 stone, though. I know he's been in the 90-degree of Tenerife for a lot of the training. Starting to slow a little, maybe. Here, Medina, maybe.
Well, Harrison just starting to wake up a little bit, pick it up.
Great left hand to the body, right into the rib cage by Harrison. That was a quality shot.
But Medina just defy his age and the number of fights he's had. Just keeps flicking out them shots.
Well, he gives trouble to just about everybody he fights, except Juan Manuel Marquez, who beat him fair and square in 7.
Well, it is a difficult style. A lot of movement in and out. A little bit erratic, but it's good for Medina.
Just finding out a little more about Scott Harrison here against this style. Naturally enough, he finds it hard to look so impressive, but he's still finding some quality punches.
And you just feel
lovely right hand. That was a feat from Harrison.
You feel these quality punches will have an effect.
Yeah, the late rounds could be Harrison's territory as Medina's aging legs begin to feel very heavy. Medina's had cuts problems in the past, not tonight so far.
Just waiting a bit too long. Harrison needs to get in, try and beat Medina to the punch. But the good, strong, big punches have come from Harrison in that round.
Yeah, he did the better quality work, I think, Harrison there. Needing the round, though, I think. Interesting to know how the judges are seeing this, because these are rounds open to different interpretation.
Well, he got the more solid punches on Harrison in that round. He really did. A couple of good right hands. There was one that shook the head of Medina. Tried with the right uppercut, just missed with that one. But Medina is giving him problems, and it's difficult for Harrison to solve them. I've got Medina ahead by 1 point, 48-47. Harrison just coming into it, looking better in the fifth.
Frank Maloney, Scott Harrison's manager, turning around at ringside and arguing with Glenn about his scoring of round 2, saying that Harrison was showing the better quality shots. Well, he would say that, wouldn't he? 6th round. Harrison, remember, in the black trunks. Unusual style, unique almost. Medina, who lives in Tijuana, same town as Eric Morales, one of the world's other top featherweights, though he'll be moving up by the sounds of things. Nicely done with the left hand there by Harrison.
You just sense that Medina slowing down a bit. Still moving quite well, though.
Well, he's beaten a lot of good fighters. Troy Dorsey, Tom Johnson. Okay, that was a technical decision. Fabrice Benichou, Frankie Toledo, Hector Sarazu, Alejandro Gonzalez, and so on and so forth. Steve Cruz as well. Medina slips in the corner there. That's just water that had spilt.
Oh, there's no doubt he is genuine world-class, 4-time world champion. Pretty remarkable record for a man that turned professional at 14.
He's making a big argument out of this, Medina. Some people thought he might be blown away, that he was coming near the end of the road after what happened to him against Marquez. Not working out that way. And Harrison, by his own high standards, maybe just a little off form so far. But bear in mind, it's a tricky style. And I don't think he's truly worked it out yet.
I don't think he has. Harrison needs to be close to someone because he likes to throw lots of shots with combinations, 3s and 4s. You can't do that because you can't stay close enough to Medina.
Is Marquez showing other fighters the way to go about dealing with Scott Harrison?
Well, he has obviously had the style to deal with Medina well enough. But styles do make fights, and it is, you know, you can handle some fighters and some styles better than others. And obviously this one, movement, fast punches, is something that, you know, just worries Harrison a bit.
Just looks a little frustrated in there at the moment. Slightly bemused by the whirlwind hands of Medina.
That's the problem, getting beaten to the punch, can't get his balance.
The danger that begins to loom for Scott Harrison in this fight is that he could get himself pickpocketed out of it. That's a bit better. He needs to start cutting off Medina on the ropes and in the corners. That isn't happening. Well, we're coming up to the round, the 7th, that Scott Harrison believed he would win in. And look at the jabs landed so far.
75-29, that's a telling tale, isn't it? And something that Harrison has to deal with, and he has to find a way past that jab, and that's a bit of head movement and getting quicker into range.
You always know when things aren't going so well when Denny Mancini starts joining in the corner, and he talks a lot of sense usually too.
Well, he's been around that long. Certainly does talk a lot of sense. Maybe Harrison just needs more of a G up.
But this is a test of Scott Harrison's World Championship credentials. Because staying champion means dealing with all kinds of styles from all kinds of challengers. He's closing in here. Now this is more like it from Harrison. He's got him in the corner, he's cut him off, and he got him with a lot of good shots before Medina escaped. And he needs, I think, to raise the tempo, add a bit more pace, but Medina just picks him up with a little uppercut there. Well, it's not what we thought we were going to see, is it?
That's right, I think he's been eating his beans, and I think the Mexican jumping beans that he's had.
I just wonder whether it's becoming too big an effort for Harrison to make featherweight.
Well, I know all about that. You know, when the struggles get too much, it does drain the body. he's very, very determined, Scott Harrison. I certainly wouldn't count him out.
No, nor me. There have been times when you felt he's about to solve the puzzle. Made a great start to the round, but then hasn't really built on it.
So hard to deal with this volume of punches coming at you from a tall man who's out of range to retaliate.
Harrison just misses with the right. His record doesn't suggest he's a huge puncher, in fact, Scott Harrison. Only 9 stoppages in his 19 wins. What he normally does is wear people down with his strength and pressure. Watch the use of the head, warning for Harrison there.
Well, this is Medina's round. He's worked well. Harrison started the first 20 seconds well, but since then it's been all Medina.
I think the Scottish crowd are a bit worried about what they're watching. They know this isn't like the Scott Harrison they've seen in recent fights. After all the rave reviews, maybe he was due a night where things didn't work out quite so smoothly.
Well, he's also got nose damage, and when you get that, you can see blood going about a lot. Could be trouble with his breathing.
Yeah,
that really does upset you.
Yes, he is letting his mouth gape open at times now. He's got quite a few problems in there at the moment, Harrison, and he's in danger of getting outworked in this fight. Let's go and talk to Frank Maloney, Scott Harrison's manager. How worried is he? He's with Craig Slater.
Yes, Frank Maloney urging his man on from ringside. Frank, is there a genuine concern that Scott's falling behind here?
Well, I think I've got him 1 round behind after that, but he seems to be falling in a pattern, and he doesn't seem to be getting the combinations going. He seems to be a bit wildered by the long arms and the quick movement of Medina.
He has a very awkward style, Medina. What can Scott do to counteract that?
I think he's just got to close the gaps down, and he's got to throw a lot more punches. He's just got to keep walking him down and throwing punches. When he does that, Medina doesn't have a response to him, but when Medina gets into a pattern, Scott seems to be a little bit bewildered.
Thanks, Frank.
Well, he seems calm enough. He thinks there's only 1 round in it. I think Medina's ahead by 3.
Yep, that's exactly as I've got it, 3 rounds ahead.
Mind you, this is in Scotland. I don't know how the judges are seeing it.
Well, you can hear by the crowd that the way they're seeing it, they know there's genuine concern for Harrison.
Round 8. Harrison needs to lift it, needs to be doing more.
68-65 on my card in Medina's favour, and he's still bouncing in there in his 75th fight of his career. Still got the spring in the legs, Manuel Medina.
Having said that, there is very, very little in a lot of his punches.
There is, but they're hitting the target. They're annoying, they're getting there. They are scoring shots.
Which will cause a controversy, I'm sure. The most famous debate on that subject was, of course, the Hagler-Leonard fight in '87, where people argue that Leonard was just landing showy combinations and not real meaty punches, but he got the decision that night.
Body and head, long shots, and it certainly is troubling Harrison, who tries to get in close.
Wonder if he is having problems with that breathing. It might have been quite a good spot, that, Glenn. You see, his nose has been leaking blood for 3 rounds or so.
Well, he's certainly got damage there, and you just see every now and again big bumps of blood when he gets hit. And you know, obviously inside it's hard to breathe, and
lost his balance
in his head.
Harrison, no knockdown. There's a little nick too by the side of the left eye of Scott Harrison now.
Good solid right from Medina. I think Harrison got a little cut on the left eye as well to make matters worse.
Still looks ultra fresh, Medina. Wonderful conditioned featherweight he is. What a tribute to him, the way he keeps on coming back. He's tagged with the left hand there. Medina says he thought it was a bit of a rabbit punch. Landed round the back. Might have had a case. Great right, Medina there.
No, the truth of it is he's having real trouble here, Scott Harrison.
dabbing away too at his eyes. He looks a troubled fighter in there at the moment, continuing to look bemused. We thought he might find the answers, but to be honest with you, I'd like to tell you he is, but there are not that many signs of it at the moment.
There's not. There looks to be some doubt coming into his mind as well. He's unable to lift himself, getting picked off from long range. You see the blood from the nose again.
And at the moment, Medina is fighting like a man who thinks he has Harrison's number, but just to remind him that he maybe hasn't, two right hands go crashing in. But Medina, significantly there, got himself out of trouble in that corner as the bell sounds, and I think won another round.
And there's the damage to the eye that they're working on. There's nose damage. He really is in a bit of trouble here, and maybe Medina has just got his number style-wise.
Well, there's all kinds of rumours going around ringside about how this fight is being scored. Certainly some of the promoters, officials, saying that it might be 4 rounds by now to Medina. There he is, look at that. World featherweight title fights. The old-timers, George Dixon and Abe Attell at the top. Eusebio Pedrosa, who Barry McGuigan beat to become champion, 20. Medina, 18 now at featherweight, and one other at super featherweight. What a record, and what a fighter. He's boxed 15 world champions. This leathery-skinned, super fit Mexican who made his debut in Tijuana car parks when he was 14, right out of the spit and sawdust school. He says, I've been a fighter all my life.
Well, you have to be to come out of Tijuana, because that is one tough place. Well, 4 rounds to go, and I've got Medina 4 rounds ahead. So Harrison really has to pull something out and show why he's champion.
Well, he has to make it close-ish on the scorecards, doesn't he? He has to make there be a room for argument. Not much at the moment. There's just something not quite there with him tonight.
Yep, just hasn't got the spot. Never really looked to have that right from the beginning. And, you know, maybe it's the weight.
Yeah, maybe it is. I know he used to train with 3 layers of heavy clothing on in a hot house gym, but he's going to have to show now some real championship quality to get out of jail in this one.
Well, he's trying like mad now to close the distance down. Really got Medina running about. He's got to get the arms working though, Harrison.
He has to start getting Medina left hand. Looked a heavy shot. Again, the Mexican springs like a jack-in-the-box off those ropes and away from trouble. Maybe this will be Scott Harrison's time in the fight, though. Late on, he's been covering a lot of ground in there, almost running a marathon, Medina, on oldish legs. And he's starting to just ship a few more. Noticeably so in this round. Just breathing a little heavier too, Medina, starting to look a bit puffed up.
Well, he really is trying to make an effort of it in this round, Harrison. You can see him focused, trying to get those arms moving, trying to rattle up the punches.
Well, he's hardly been out of the gym, has he, as well? That's another factor. Is 3 fight preparations and biggish fights, almost back-to-back.
Well,
this is a better round for Harrison, this one, though.
Maybe he just does need a little bit of a rest and is a bit of a jaded fighter.
Just starting to get to Medina here. Oh, lowish right hand from Harrison. Keep them up, says Mickey Van, the referee. Van, a referee who likes the limelight himself. Enjoys being part of these World Championship fights. Harrison's won that one. Needed it badly, too.
But he looked to be trying very hard in that round. How much is that round taken out of Scott Harrison? Can he keep it going? Because he needs to.
Gary Jacobs is talking to Ed Robinson. Let's hear what he has to say.
Well, Gary, you don't actually think that Scott Harrison's won a single round yet?
No, I think he's labouring. I think he's really struggling. He just can't seem to cope with the jab and move. It's the bite amateur tactics. He's standing in front of the guy. Medina's just jabbing and moving and picking up points. Not that his work's that clever. Scott's work's a little bit better, but he's not doing enough of it.
So he's running out of time, Scott Harrison. You've got him booked for defeat, really.
Absolutely. I think he's got to. I mean, in realistic terms, I think he has to stop him here to win the fight. He's not going to win it, in my opinion, he's not going to win it in points.
Thank you, Gary.
Medina, significantly more punches thrown and landed in this fight. Harrison, slightly better success rate. I've still got it by 3 points to Medina with 3 rounds to go. Are we in for a big shock here tonight? What do the scorecards of the judges say?
Well, he really does need to get a few ideas in there of what to do to cut off the ring, to get close, and most of all, to get those punches thrown.
Harrison's plans for greatness put on hold a bit here. I think they'll have to abandon all that talk about Marco Antonio Barrera for the time being, whatever the result here.
Well, like every fighter, there's always a way to beat them, and Manuel Medina just looks to be finding the way with Harrison.
Medina was stopped in the 11th by the big punching Nassim Hamed, but he had a great 12th against Paul Ingle, floored him, and nearly pulled it out the fire that night in a classic.
Well, there's real Mexican pride with Medina. He hasn't come here to make the numbers up, whether people think his career is on the slide or not.
Did we ever think he had? No.
Let him go. Hold on.
He's making a nonsense of a lot of the pre-fight predictions here. Manuel Medina, and Harrison looks tired. Gary Jacobs doesn't think he's won a round. I think that's a bit unfair, but I think there's not much doubt Medina's ahead.
Well, and Gary's Scottish as well, so it might even be a biased view.
Harrison has lost before, but that was on a cut against Miguel Matthews early in his career. Hardly matters. This would be a genuine and very damaging defeat.
Well, I think there's something wrong with Harrison.
Yeah.
He's jaded. I think it's been too much of a struggle to make the weight. He hasn't had the spark of old right from the start.
And at the moment, he looks like he could be sliding to defeat unless he can come up with something spectacular late on here.
Well, we know what he's made of. We know how strong a character he is, but he's going to need every bit of that.
His punches just seem to bounce off Medina, even the big heavy ones.
Well, Medina's done well, really found a rhythm, really got the punches going, warmed up to this pretty quickly, and it's been a tremendous performance from Medina.
Well, they thought he was shot when they hired him to fight Alejandro Gonzalez. He won the WBC title. They thought he was shot when they hired him to fight Hector Lizarraga in a first defense for the IBF title. He won that too. Is he going to do it all over again with Scott Harrison? I tell you what, Frank Maloney's reputation's on the line a little bit here, you know. He's the guy that chose Medina as the opponent.
Well, they wanted good fighters. You've got to credit them for doing that, but have they picked a mistake? Scott Harrison wants to fight Barrera. He wants to fight the Moraleses of this world. Medina is not that. You know, and this is who he's in with, and he's struggling desperately. 4 rounds behind on my card with 2 rounds to go.
Had some hard sparring ahead of this fight as well with Eric Odumasi, a Ghanaian who was one of his old foes. Apparently those sessions very, very intense in the gym.
Well, you know, hot gyms, hot sessions, weight making, all makes for, you know, just taking a little bit out of a fighter.
And the hard fights back to back. Not that it was particularly hard one against McCulloch for him. Totally dominant that night. Well. Round 11. Have we got to the stage where Harrison needs a stoppage or knockout? Plenty of scorecards think so. That looked like a bit of a low one. Medina went to complain and then just got straight back to the game plan. Couldn't be bothered to do it. Too busy. Got on the balls of his feet. There's a right to the body. But Medina isn't stopping. He's having to throw, well, not desperation shots, but he's having to throw all caution aside here, Harrison, now, as he tries to rescue what on the face of it looks a losing cause, unless the judges do him a favour in his home city.
Well, I think they'll told him in the corner that you're behind, we're in danger of losing this. You need the knockout, because he is trying to make a big effort to get close, and he is planting his feet and really throwing the haymakers.
Medina has done so much work in this contest. Is he going to last home? Can Harrison somehow sensationally nail him late? Breathing heavily, cut by the side of the eye, blood from the nose, looking jaded.
He's looking really, really tired in there. This is a mammoth effort for Harrison to get the punches out.
It's just not happened for him tonight. And even with Medina's big pedigree, if Harrison does lose it, it would be one of the year's big shocks.
Well, he needs a huge punch to get Medina out of there. He doesn't look like he's got the strength to do that. Medina has got the bounce. Harrison hangs on, and he's tired.
Just hasn't been able to sustain any pressure. That was a good right hand. I don't know why Medina was complaining. It was right into the right side of his temple, and that's flush. Harrison lands again. Medina just soaks it up, though. And there's another very heavy shot. Now then, can he get to Medina? No, the Mexican is still bouncing around on the balls of his feet. Well, this is a good part of the fight now for Harrison. Good little half a minute.
Medina's still there, still throwing out the shots. The eye closing of Harrison, that left eye, as well as the nose damage. He's got that to contend with.
Take absolutely nothing for granted ever in this business. Only one round to go. Big crisis here, and you can feel that the Harrison fan club, the thousands of them here, know it.
Well, 269 punches to 197 landed for Medina. Look at that. And Harrison's face showing every one of those shots.
Frank Maloney's gone round to Harrison's corner, probably to tell him he needs a knockout. And I've just seen something I've never seen in my life. Frank Maloney turned down an interview with a radio man at ringside. You ever seen him do that?
Never. And I think he knows. I don't think he can speak really. I think he's been shouting that hard for Harrison.
He's lifted off his stool, literally lifted by his father, Scott Harrison. Last round, we think Harrison needs a knockout. But I just wonder whether we're going to have a controversy. What happens here in this last round? Harrison just has to throw the kitchen sink at Medina. You just can't believe this is his 19th world title fight, spanning a decade or more, can you? Manuel Medina, 12 years to be exact.
Yeah, it really is remarkable to show such freshness, to be bouncing around the ring, letting shots go when he's been through a career that he has.
All those fights against a man 7 years younger, away from home as well. I'm sure Medina's corner will be thinking, well, we think we've got it, but they won't start celebrating until they hear the judges' cards. The eye is closing of Harrison, who's looked tired for a long time, almost as if he's fighting from memory. He's really having to drag it up from somewhere. He just has not looked himself tonight, and it hasn't only been the fact that he's fighting a different style. There's Medina slipping on some water, and that rather slippery advertising in the centre of the ring as well. Need to look at that, I think, the authorities.
Well, you do have to say what a tremendous job Manuel Medina's done here. Absolutely fantastic. The amount of shots he's landed, punches he's thrown.
But he lost to Johnny Tapia when he threw 1,400. Well, the judges thought so anyway.
The judges thought so. That was better from Harrison.
He has landed a few solid ones here and there, but he hasn't been able to sustain the pressure. Medina's never really let him get set. He's always throwing out some leather with those red gloves. Harrison just hasn't got close enough, often enough.
Body shot seemed to hurt Harrison there.
Is the most talked about featherweight in the country and one of the most talked about boxers in the country, on his way here to a shock defeat.
Well, on my card, definitely. I think it is the end of a title for Scott Harrison.
And there's a low blow from Medina there. Harrison makes nothing of it. But that's a desperation throw there from the Scot. This style has found him out, hasn't it? I don't think he's really fought anybody quite like this. A mover, lateral movement, on his toes, throw punches, away again. And he's made Harrison look ponderous. It's over, and unless there's a robbery, Medina takes the title, I think.
Yeah, I think most definitely Medina did a lot more. Won the rounds, and I think it's a big win, a fantastic win for Manuel Medina.
You've got to take your hats off to Medina, whether he gets it or not. We shall wait to see. Larry Hazard Jr., Melvin Latham, and Britain's Roy Francis will score it. Harrison bearing the scars of battle. Those are the three pretty experienced officials.
Well, listen to the crowd, Ian. Virtual silence.
Medina once again threw more than 1,000 punches to Harrison's 749. He landed with nearly 100 more. Okay, they weren't perhaps of the quality of Harrison's shots, but I don't think there's any two ways about it. If justice is served here, Medina has won.
Most definitely, and really, you know, after a performance like that, you wouldn't want to see him robbed of his 5th world title. How remarkable is that?
I've got it by 4 points to Medina. And that might be being a bit kind to Harrison.
Yeah, I've got, just looking at mine, I'm 6, I think, for Medina.
It's a nasty shock for the Scottish crowd. It's a bit of a gala weekend up here with the Scottish Open Golf going on and a big rock concert with REM. City buzzing a bit, but nobody's buzzing in that Harrison corner now. I think they know the score. Look at Denny Mancini's face. That is not the face of a corner, or the faces of a corner who think they've got it. Harrison looks like he knows he's lost the fight, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he does. I think some words maybe leaked to them. Medina, he's in the corner, he's standing on the ropes.
And if it's true, Manuel Medina will be a 5-time world champion for Mexico. There'll be a big inquest about what went wrong. Not a great night for Frank Maloney, who had a choice of 2 or 3 people who might have fought Harrison. He picked Medina, thought Harrison would have his number. It didn't look like it. Here it is officially.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges have concluded that we have a split decision. Judge Roy Francis scores the contest 118 to 113 for Manuel Medina. Judge Larry Hazard Jr. scores the contest 115 to 113 for Scott Harrison. And Judge Melvina Lathan scores the contest 116 to 1112. For the winner by split decision and new.
Medina's got it by a split decision. Harrison has lost his title, and deservedly so. No doubts at all about it. Justice has been served, and frankly, Larry Hazard Jr. should be the subject of a big inquiry by the WBO. How could his card read that? That is a scandal, Glenn.
It is an absolute scandal, and luckily the other two judges had it right, and the right man won this. But that was, from Larry Hazard, absolute joke.
I don't think he should ever officiate at another World Championship fight if he thought that Harrison won that. He must have been reading a book.
Exactly. I think Roy Francis was somewhere near the truth with his scorecard.
At least justice was done. Roy Francis had it right. So did Melvina Lathan, I think. You can argue about the margin, but Harrison wasn't himself tonight, and he's lost his world title here in pretty sensational fashion.
Scott, you lose your world title on a split decision. Did you think you'd lost by more, though?
No, I just wasn't there tonight. I didn't look so sharp. I don't know. It was quite slippery. I thought it was a close fight.
You thought it was close, but you had problems from the beginning with his grab and raid tactics and his movement. Why couldn't you close him down?
Because he was just trying to kind of steal it, and he was slippery. And just the sharpness wasn't there.
And also problems with your nose, difficulty breathing at times?
Aye, the guy put up a good fight. No, he put up a good fight.
And what about in training? Anything that went wrong? How was the weight making? Were you struggling at that?
Nah, no problems. I was ill a couple of weeks ago, but the guy put up a good fight. I mean, done well.
Fairly and squarely beaten by a better man on the night.
I need to look at it.
Frank Maloney, what do you think? Do you think that the judges got it right, or two of them got it right?
Well, I think Medina just stole the fight with his jab and grab style, but you know, we'll be back. I mean, you know, I'm sure Frank Warren will get a rematch made and Scott will get back. And you know, on the night he got beat, he just had a bad day at the office. That's all it is.
And very upsetting for you, obviously, knowing how much time and effort you've put into Scott and how close you are.
Well, it's upsetting for the whole team. You know, it's upsetting for Britain because he was a good world champion, but he will be back.
You'll be back, Scott.
Definitely.
Thanks for your honesty and talking to us. Cheers.
Let's hope so, but it's not easy to take now, and it'll be harder when he wakes up tomorrow. They have to take it. They have to try to come back. But did Medina really grab and jab his way to victory, Jim?
Jab and grab? No, I don't know where Frank Maloney gets that. I saw plenty of jabs, but I must have missed the grabs, because that was a wonderful old pro doing his job. Will we ever stop taking things for granted in the fight game?
Not in boxing, no way.
I don't think we ever will. I mean, everything was there for Harrison, he just couldn't produce.
Yeah.
Barry?
Yeah, Harrison just was not at the game tonight. He was certainly not at the races. Medina stole the fight in beautiful style. He bombarded him with punches from start to finish. He bamboozled him with his movement and with his tactics. His punches came from all angles, and the problem was, we always worried, was maybe Harrison a little robotic, a little one-pace at the very highest level, and this guy just showed that up.
There were times in the middle part of the fight where you thought Harrison is now starting to get to his match.
Starting to come back.
Couldn't go through with that.
Couldn't sustain a Paul. Caught him a few punches, but then, you know, as the fight progressed, you could see him starting to take Harrison's punches. He could see the shots coming. He was taking them and bouncing back in with shots like that. Straight in, out, 1, 2, 3. Caught with the right hand here.
See, the problem here,
didn't have any effect on him.
Scott is doing exactly the same things in the 9th round that he was doing in the 1st and 2nd rounds, and they weren't working.
Exactly. There was
where were the tactics? Where was the advice? I mean, he's been in the game a long time. We were looked upon Scott as a complete little fighter. He wasn't wonderful in any one aspect. If one thing wasn't working, something else would work. Nothing worked tonight. But he didn't change, he didn't chop and change.
Exactly.
He just didn't know what to do there.
The thing about it was, Paul, he needed to win ugly tonight. He was not going to win in the straight left jab because he simply couldn't get the jab going. Medina beat him to the jab every single time, and that took everything away from him. He could not follow up any of his movements because he had to force him back to the ropes and win ugly, but he couldn't do that.
And Barry, that's the same Medina who was stopped in 7 rounds by Manuel Marquez.
Manuel Marquez
did what he liked with him, so we have to reassess Scott. Is he really ready for the big boys?
Yes, and it was a surgical, precise job that he took Medina apart. And I mean, Medina was just mesmerised Harrison tonight. He just couldn't cope with his variety and style.
Thank you. One other Scottish hope in action here tonight. The Commonwealth and vacant British Super Bantamweight crowns were up for grabs, but could it be Brian Carr's turn at last up against Isham Pickering? Let's pick up the action in this one in round 4.
Pickering will be quite happy with the way this has started. Carr not really able to get to him again. Fast punches and away by Isham Pickering. A big right hand! And he floors Carr. Well, that certainly wasn't in the script tonight. Gets up with the count at 5. Seems all right. Walk towards me, says referee Howard Foster. Carr satisfies him on that score, but can Pickering go on here to score one of these rare knockouts? Takes a left hook back in the exchange, but he's holding on, Carr. Now, this chance has come late, late, late in his career. And Pickering looking faster and fresher. And he's got him on the go a little bit here in this round.
Well, he went down pretty heavily there. Carr did well to get up and beat the count, but he's under a bit of pressure here.
Well, is it a case of improving power from Isham Pickering? Because he produced a great right hand to win the Commonwealth title last time, and he's coming in with some big shots here, setting his feet. He's stopped. It's over. And Isham Pickering is now the British as well as the Commonwealth Super Bantamweight champion, and he's on a roll.
And that was a very good stoppage. All started with a good right hand. There it is, just nicely on the chin. And he went down pretty heavily there. Just leant back, got himself bending those knees, and got a bit of, you know, got solid punching into there, and that was a good shot.
And Carr's not noted for lacking resilience, is he, either? Or hasn't been up till now.
He certainly isn't. You know, you wonder if suddenly the legs have started to go from Carr, but you can't take that much away from Pickering. It was good punches that did it.
It's just part of the debate as well, of course. I think Carr did have a big problem making the weight. It has come late, but take nothing at all away from Isham Pickering, who has put together 2 wins this year, 1 for the Commonwealth crown, now the British title added to it. So everything's coming up roses for him.
It's been a hard road, difficult at times. You were blown away in that world title chance, but you've pulled yourself back together, and it all came right tonight against Brian Carr, didn't it?
Well, it come right on my last fight, you know, and it's coming together now. It's just clicked together. A few things missing there. Like I say, the ability's there. The ability's there, and now it's just clicking into place.
One of the best uppercuts you've ever thrown there in the 4th round?
Yeah, well, to be honest, the first 3 rounds, he messed me around a bit, and I was trying a little bit too hard, but, you know, I caught up with him in the end.
It's been a long wait, Barry, but is Pickering on his way at last?
Beginning to come together for Brendan Ingle needs a champion. This kid looked very impressive tonight. Hats off to Brian Carr. He's given the sport a lot of entertaining nights.
Last word on this to you, Jim?
Well, when Carr was at his peak, the super bantamweight division was a hot division. Now the division has been on the slide, but unfortunately so have Carr's talents. I think we've seen the end of a worthy career.
We may indeed have a new star at last at Super Bantamweight. My thanks for now to Jim and to Barry. And another star in action, in the making at least, Alex Arthur. He's on the way still. He has retained his British Super Featherweight crown with an 8th round stoppage over Willie Limond here in Glasgow tonight. Fantastic show for you this coming Thursday night. 2 British title fights. David Barnes against Jimmy Vincent for the vacant British welterweight crown, and Bobby Vanzi defends his British lightweight title against Graham Earl. That's this Thursday night, 9 o'clock, Sky Sports 1. Saturday fight night in a fortnight's time, Ted Bami, Samuel Malinga at light welterweight. That's at 8 on the Saturday night on Sky Sports 1, and on the Sunday, a big fight special. Fernando Vargas is back against Fritz van der Poel. Manny Pacquiao defends his IBF World Super Bantamweight crown against the unbeaten Emmanuel Lucero of Mexico. A big fight special, Sunday, July the 27th, Sky Sports 3 at 1:30. We've had a major shock here tonight. Scott Harrison has lost his world crown. Mexican Manuel Medina, a 5-time world champion,